Hello. Hip-hop has always celebrated family, loyalty, and legacy.
He thinks I'm entitled when that's not the case. Like, it's never been about the money for me. It's more so the relationship and for me personally.
Rappers built their careers talking about struggle, sacrifice, and doing everything for their kids. But what happens when the children tell a very different story?
Man, he be tripping, he be on me too much. Everything I do, he got a problem with it.
From 50 Cent, whose public fallout with his son Marquise Jackson turned into one of the coldest family feuds in rap history.
I don't even know if a sit down can actually restore the situation. It's just more so it's an olive branch. Like, if you up for it, I'm up for it. I'm definitely willing to sit down with him and so I can hear his perspective and gain a little bit of understanding.
To Boosie Badazz, his son Tootie Raw, who says his father hates on everything he does. To the son of Ghostface Killah, who accused a hip-hop legend of abandoning him completely. These are 10 rappers whose own children say they were failed by the men the world idolizes.
You know, actually, your son wants to sit down with you.
No, he doesn't. See, Charlamagne, you would call me. You don't call TMZ to say you want to sit down. Think about it, man.
This isn't about clout. This isn't about gossip. This is about broken homes, public humiliation.
You and Eminem talk about your kids. Where are you and Marquise at right now? How's your relationship with?
I don't have a relationship with him
at all whatsoever.
No, it's an unfortunate situation.
Emotional neglect and sons growing up in the shadow of famous fathers who were never there. Let's begin with the most famous case of them all: 50 Cent and Marquise Jackson.
And think of as the entitlement being filtered, right? So you gotta imagine, how do you make a privileged child feel deprived or angry? Like big, you say, when he comes into his own and he starts to have interest in his identity.
The feud between 50 Cent and his son Marquise Jackson is one of the most public, bitter, and emotionally disturbing family fallouts hip-hop has ever seen. For more than a decade, their relationship has played out in front of millions across Instagram posts, interviews, live streams, and even indirect lyrics. But it all started back in 2008 when 50's relationship with Marquise's mother, Shaniqua Tompkins, collapsed in one of the messiest celebrity breakups of that era. According to Marquise, that was the moment his relationship with his father completely changed. He said repeatedly that by the time he was 10 or 11 years old, his father was already emotionally distant and eventually completely absent. The money that replaced a father. At the center of their conflict was child support. Initially, 50 Cent was ordered to pay $25,000 per month, a figure that made headlines. But years later, the payments were reduced to $6,700 per month. Once Marquise turned 18, that number became symbolic. Marquise publicly stated that $6,700 wasn't enough to survive in New York, but more importantly, he said the money never replaced what he really wanted: his father's presence. From that point on, money became the weapon both sides used, and the relationship only got worse. When the world watched it turn ugly. In 2018, the feud crossed a line that shocked even 50 Cent's most loyal fans. 50 commented under a photo of Marquise standing next to the son of one of his enemies, saying that if both of them hid by a bus, he wouldn't have a bad day. The comment went viral, not because it was funny, but because it was ice cold. Then, in 2020, 50 went even further during an Instagram Live, saying he would choose Tekashi 6ix9ine, a known snitch, over his own biological son. For many people, that moment permanently changed how they viewed 50 Cent, not as a rapper, but as a father. A son still trying. Marquise responded in a way that many found heartbreaking. He publicly offered his father $6,700, the exact amount of the child support, in exchange for just 24 hours of quality time together. It wasn't a stunt, it was a message, a reminder that money had replaced love in their relationship. When asked about the situation, 50 blamed what he called programming from Marquise's mother, claiming she poisoned their son against him by constantly reminding him of money and responsibility. When asked if he would ever sit down privately with his son to fix things, 50 was dismissive, suggesting Marquise's public attempts were more about clout than healing. 3. Uncle Luke and his children. Millions paid, love still unpaid. Few rappers fought harder for artistic freedom than Uncle Luke. As the face of 2 Live Crew, he challenged censorship, took his case all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, and helped redefine free speech in music. On stage, Uncle Luke never backed down from conflict. But when it comes to his children, Luke has admitted something shocking. He lost.
Let me tell you something. Ghostface Killah disowns his son because Ghostface Killah thought he raised a warrior. He thought he had a son cut from that Wu-Tang cloth. Woo with it, woo. Ghostface Killah thought he had a son that was gonna rock Timberland boots, 13 and a half, a white beater, and some goddamn blue 501 Levi jeans. You know how them New York ninjas do. But when his son came out the goddamn closet, Ghostface Killah couldn't handle it. He disowned him. He turned his back on the gay son because he thought his legacy would fail.
In multiple interviews over the years, Luke has said his children hate him, despite claiming he's paid over $2.7 million in child support, plus hundreds of thousands more in legal fees fighting custody battles. He says he gets no Father's Day calls, no birthday love, no relationship. Luke blames the mothers of his children, accusing them of poisoning his kids against him by filling their heads with stories of abandonment and neglect, accusations he insists are false. The situation reached a disturbing peak when Luke publicly declared, "I only have one kid." That single sentence sent shockwaves through hip-hop. It was, in effect, a public disowning of the children who rejected him. Luke later doubled down, invoking biblical principles and even Japanese cultural ideas of honor, arguing that respect for parents is non-negotiable and that rejection forfeits family ties. His daughter, Raisha Cree Campbell, publicly told a very different story. She accused Luke of domestic abuse, emotional absence, and violence toward both her and her mother. Her allegations went viral in the early 2010s and were later featured on VH1's Luke's Parental Advisory, where viewers watched the family's dysfunction unfold in real time. Luke's response was equally cold. If they hate him so much, he told them to drop his last name, accusing them of benefiting from his fame while despising everything he represents. 4. Boosie Badazz and his daughters. Money provided, damage multiplied.
I'm not sure if you've seen the internet and some different reports of, your daughter on there kind of, I guess, it's not a good thing, but I guess trying to reach out to you or just say something.
Well, I only have one kid.
Really?
Son.
Really?
Yeah, I only have one kid.
I thought, Luke, with the reality show and everything, didn't you have your other kids and everything on there?
I have one kid. His name is Blake Campbell, and he stays with me, and me and my wife raises him, and that's it. I've made mistakes in my life, you know what I'm saying, and I like kids to understand how their kids and everybody to understand. It's important to practice safe sex, and it's important to, not have sex without condoms because you'll be sperm donating, and when you sperm donate, then, to angry parents, angry mothers, then unfortunately the only thing is about a check. And when you get a check, then the results of that check ends up where your kids are on, your sperm donation kids are online talking bad about you. I'm like the Japanese, I spent a lot of time in Japan, like the Bible say, honor thy mother and her father, your life will be short, and the Japanese folks say, once you, disrespect your mother or your father, your parents, you know what I'm saying? You wash your hands.
If there's one rapper known for never holding his tongue, it's Boosie Badazz. With 8 children by 6 women and another on the way, Boosie's family dynamics were always going to be complicated, but his public conflicts with daughters Poison Ivy, Iviona Hatch, and Torrance Tootie Hatch turned explosive. The Poison Ivy fallout. Boosie's issues with Poison Ivy center on her being openly lesbian and his refusal to accept it. In September 2024, on Young Miami's Risha Please podcast, Boosie admitted he does not allow Ivy to bring her girlfriend into his home, claiming it could influence his other children. Ivy responded with a nearly 15-minute Instagram video, raw, emotional, and devastating. She accused Boosie of emotional neglect, of publicly humiliating her, and of caring more about his image than her well-being. While she acknowledged that he provides financially and said he's not a bad father overall, she made it clear the emotional damage runs deep. The backlash forced Boosie to issue rare apologetic posts saying he never meant to hurt her, but no confirmed reconciliation followed.
What kind of mama do that? Now the level of disrespect she got, it ain't no wood. I did take her out my will. Ain't no, I did. I did. Ain't no, it has been done. I did whatever to raise that child, right? Shit. Tried everything. The disrespect you have for your daddy,
The Tootie Raw explosion. The conflict with Tootie Raw was even uglier. In August 2023, Boosie took back a Mercedes he had gifted her after she chose to live with her mother instead of him. Tootie went live on Instagram playing audio of a phone call where Boosie allegedly threatened violence and warned he would remove her from his will. She referenced his past legal troubles, including his time on death row before being acquitted, turning the family conflict into a public spectacle.
Why'd you take that car away?
because her mom filed child support on me, and all of them was in on it together.
Meaning who?
My daughter.
And her?
Boosie later confirmed he did remove her from his will, delivering the statement with a chilling finality. Beyond these conflicts, Boosie has faced severe criticism for admitting he arranged sexual encounters for underage sons and nephews to prevent homosexuality, a practice experts universally condemned as child abuse. Those admissions permanently damaged how the public views him as a parent.
5. Benzino and Coi Leray. When success deepens the wound. Benzino watched his daughter Coi Leray rise from struggle to stardom, but their relationship never healed. Coi has said publicly that after her parents split and Benzino was ousted from the source, the family went completely broke. She claims her mother had to strip to survive, that they slept in cars, that she had to work as a teenager because her father wasn't there. As her career took off, the tension worsened. Coi accused Benzino of being jealous, of using her success for clout while refusing to celebrate her achievements, even Grammy nominations. She famously said, "DNA doesn't make you family." In 2024, she publicly disowned him after Benzino defended R. Kelly and made comments about age of consent laws that disgusted many. Benzino has since cried in interviews, saying he's hurt by being labeled a deadbeat, but the silence between them remains. 6. Dr. Dre and Latanya Young. When billions can't buy a father. When you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars, when you've built an empire off classic albums, global brands, and a headphone company sold for billions, you'd assume your children would never struggle. But for Dr. Dre's eldest daughter, Latanya Young, reality looked nothing like the image people had of Andre Young. In 2021, Latanya shocked the world when she revealed she was homeless. Not struggling, not down bad, homeless. She said she was living out of her car with her 4 children, barely surviving by working gig jobs like DoorDash and Uber Eats, all while her father remained one of the richest and most powerful figures in music history. Let that sink in. The daughter of Dr. Dre sleeping in a vehicle, struggling to feed her kids. Latanya claims she hadn't had any meaningful contact with her father for nearly 18 years. No calls, no support, no relationship. She stated she hadn't received any financial help since January 2020, and when she finally went public with her situation, Dre's team allegedly told her the support stopped because she spoke to the media. She launched a GoFundMe just to afford housing, a move that raised uncomfortable questions across the industry. Latanya blamed the rift partly on Nicole Young, Dre's ex-wife, especially during their bitter and highly publicized divorce. Meanwhile, Dre's relationships with his younger children appeared healthy, public, and financially secure. Some kids got the mansion, others got forgotten. Dre has never publicly responded to Latanya's claims. Her story stands as a chilling reminder that wealth, success, and legacy don't guarantee compassion or even basic parental care.
7. T.I. and Deyjah Harris. When control crosses the line. T.I. spent years branding himself as a family man, a rapper, actor, author, and businessman who proudly showcased his household on reality TV. Then, in 2019, he detonated his own image. During a podcast appearance, T.I. casually admitted that he accompanied his daughter Deyjah to annual gynecologist visits to check whether her hymen was still intact, to confirm she was a virgin. He spoke as if this was normal. The backlash was immediate and brutal. Doctors explained that virginity can't be medically verified this way. Psychologists warned of emotional trauma. Women's rights advocates called it a violation of bodily autonomy. And at the center of it all was Deyjah, whose private medical information had just been exposed to the entire world by her own father. On the family's reality show, Deyjah tearfully described the relationship as awkward and humiliating. She temporarily deleted her social media, overwhelmed by the scrutiny and shame. Her mother publicly criticized T.I., deepening the family tension. T.I. later apologized, claiming his words were misunderstood, but many felt the damage was already done. While the relationship has reportedly improved in recent years, the incident remains a lasting example of how control disguised as protection can permanently damage trust between parent and child. 8. Wow and Shai Moss. Distance without drama. Unlike many cases on this list, Bow Wow's relationship with his daughter Shai Moss isn't defined by public hatred or explosive arguments. It's defined by distance. At just 13 years old, Shai expressed a strong desire for privacy, saying she wanted a normal life, away from red carpets, TikTok fame, and the spotlight that comes with being Bow Wow's daughter. That alone spoke volumes. There were also moments that raised concern, including Bow Wow not realizing Shai had to evacuate during California wildfires. For many, that suggested more than miscommunication. It suggested absence. Bow Wow's relationship with his younger son, Stone Moss, has been even more turbulent, though largely due to co-parenting conflict. He initially appeared to question paternity and has been accused of the child's mother of inconsistency and emotional distance. To be fair, Shai has posted loving messages about her father, praising the lessons he taught her and sharing playful moments online. But her consistent push for privacy suggests at least some resentment toward the celebrity life she never asked for. 9. Finesse2Tymes and FNG King. Mentorship gone wrong. Memphis rapper Finesse2Tymes found himself wrapped in disturbing family drama involving FNG King, a young artist he took under his wing as a protege.
Though not his biological son, the relationship was presented publicly as mentorship until reports surfaced of FNG King begging for money, accusing Finesse of neglect, instability, and exposure to substances. The situation spiraled into custody disputes, probation violations, and allegations of an unsafe environment, painting a troubling picture of a relationship that was supposed to be guidance, not chaos. Finesse has also faced accusations from his own mother, who claimed he failed to support her financially despite his success, claims he denied, posting alleged proof of payments. When a rapper has to publicly defend himself against accusations of neglecting his own family, it highlights just how deep the dysfunction runs. 10. Kirk Frost and his children. When absence becomes the legacy. Love and hip-hop Atlanta star Kirk Frost has long been criticized for being emotionally absent from his children's lives, with multiple kids by different women and ongoing infidelity scandals. Several of his children have spoken about feeling ignored, overlooked, and emotionally sidelined, while Kirk focused on career, image, and public drama. For many viewers, his story represents a familiar pattern, a father physically present in the world but emotionally unavailable at home. 10. Kirk Frost and his children. When family trauma becomes public entertainment. Kirk Frost's family life is one of the most complicated and most publicly exposed dynamics in hip-hop reality television. For years, millions of viewers watched his personal decisions play out on screen, but nothing shook his household more than the 2016 affair with Jasmine Washington, which resulted in the birth of his son, Cannon. That moment didn't just damage Kirk's marriage to Rashida, it fractured the emotional foundation of his entire family. Rashida has openly stated that she stayed in the marriage largely for the sake of their children, despite the humiliation and betrayal happening in real time on national television. For kids who once viewed their father as a superhero, watching that image collapse publicly was devastating. No child should have to see their family fall apart for ratings. Yet Kirk's children were forced to process their pain in front of cameras, strangers, and endless online commentary. The damage wasn't theoretical, it was personal, permanent, and public. Kirk's eldest son, Christopher, experienced years of estrangement due to his own struggles with substance abuse. Their eventual reconciliation, captured on camera, was emotional and genuine, showing that healing is possible. But that moment of progress only highlighted the unresolved tension elsewhere. Jasmine Washington has accused Kirk of being a TV father, present when the cameras are rolling, absent when real parenting is required. She claims his involvement with their son Cannon is more about image than consistency. On multiple occasions, the show has captured uncomfortable moments where Kirk appeared unfamiliar with basic details about his youngest son, including what school he attends and even what grade he's in. Moments like that reinforced public perception that Kirk struggles with emotional presence, not just responsibility. The issue isn't just infidelity, it's availability, it's consistency, it's whether fatherhood exists beyond the spotlight. Kirk Frost's story represents a broader truth in celebrity families. When personal trauma becomes entertainment, children often pay the highest price. Healing is possible, but it requires accountability off camera, not just emotional scenes on it.